Okay, people, I just thought I'd do a quick video about this election. It's a Brexit election, isn't it? Well, it is for me. I was an innie. I didn't want to leave. I know a lot of people wanted to go for numerous reasons: immigration, the way we're dictated to by Europe. Yes, that does annoy me, but it's working. It's really working, guys. I can remember 20 years ago when I went to New Zealand and someone called me a European. And I got really angry. I'm not European, I'm a Cornish British person. But they just meant by my look. I'm not an Asian, I'm not black, I'm not Maori, I look European. Now, it's really difficult 20 years later that now if someone said I'm a European, I'd be proud of it. And peace is working. We have peace in Ireland, which I remember growing up with, taking soldiers out for riding on horses as part of their like sort of things that they have to do, and we were a soft target. You know, the IRA had proven to us they blow quite willingly blow soldiers and horses up in London, and we were a soft target. They were out with the mirrors underneath the Land Rovers checking, and they always said to us, be wary, because we were a soft target. We've got peace in Ireland that I've never known. We don't have bombs going off in London now. We don't have people being blown up all the time in Ireland. We have a peace. And it seems that to jeopardize that peace and the peace that we have in Europe, that I have a friend who put a picture up on Facebook. You may have seen it, and there was a picture of Europe and there was a picture of Europe and the United Kingdom, and it was the European flag covered on the whole of Europe and the United Kingdom and Ireland. Now, the picture next door to it was a picture of all the different countries having their flags in their own little countries, whether it's Ireland, Northern Ireland, Great Britain, all the other countries around Europe were all put in together. And there was a comment on that saying, we don't want this blue flag with all the stars covering everything. We want the other one. Now, we still have both systems. We have the European Union, but we also have our identity. And I'm a Cornish person, so I'm a Cornish British person. So just like you have the Scots, the Welsh, and the Irish, I'm part of being Cornish, and I'm Cornish first, then I'm British, and then maybe I'm a European. But it seems to throw away everything over the last 40 odd years that we've had with the European Union over a possible deal where we may end up losing our NHS, prices will go through the roof, the standard of food that we will get imported from places like America are not of the same standard as what we expect in the European Union. We've also got our workers' rights. Several workers' rights will disappear, and that you cannot put a price on that. It took 40 years to get them in and to get people to recognise them. Our health and safety laws, and people might gripe about, oh, it's stopping me. Yeah, it's stopping me. It's stopping me starting a business doing vehicle salvage and breaking. It's stopping me because I can't afford the European directives. So maybe it will get better when we leave. But I think Europe works. I really think it works. I'm still Cornish. I'm still British. Yes, there are problems with Europe, huge problems. We've got huge problems within Europe because you've got police forces around Europe telling us that we have dangerous criminals coming over from their countries who've finished their time in their prisons and bringing them out, and they know they're coming to the United Kingdom. They know that's where they're going to go, and we can't do anything. That has to be a flaw. I think the freedom of movement is great. I think it's wonderful how if we want to go to France, we can go to France. If they want to come, Spanish want to come over here, I just think that works. It works so well. And you've only got to sit at the ports of Dover and look at all the freight that's moving freely and think, what is going to happen with that freight? Because I was brought up again, going back when the French were burning our sheep inside the lorries. The farmers were burning the sheep inside the lorries. I remember seeing this on the news. Now, however you look at it, it may have just been one truck. It may have been blown out of all proportions like the press like to do. That's not right. And we could have that again. Now, we are not Great Britain anymore. I don't think we can be. We do not have empires. And what were empires? I feel that Donald Trump is looking at us as a little empire, that he can come over and have this as a little enclave. He can take whatever he wants, sell us whatever he wants, and use us because of our Great Britain status. And we do like to have better systems than other countries. I mean, you've only got to look at some of the health and safety that goes on in other countries, which is why they can produce certain stuff so cheaply, is because of the total disregard to people's health and safety. I don't think it's worth jeopardising, and I really think that this is a Brexit vote, whether it's an election or whether it's a Brexit vote and people are voting because of Brexit. I think we should stay. I think for all the bad things that Europe has, I think we need to stay. We have peace, we have freedom of movement, we have trade, and I think it's working. It's really working. Yes, it's an experiment. Democracy is an experiment, okay? Let's not go back to nationalism. We've seen how nationalism works, okay? We know what nationalism does. When you have nationalism, you have persecution of whoever, and it's working at the minute. Us in United Kingdom, I think, working slightly better, okay? We tend to have a very open view of people from other countries, people from other races, and I think that's good. But it seems that this nationalism is being pushed because of people's own resentments of things that aren't working in Europe, and they've blamed that on everything but the real problems. The real problems of things not working in Europe is not Europe, okay? We've had peace. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we were trying to kill each other in Europe, and millions of people suffered, whether it be the First World War or the Second World War. It's now working. It's working. The peace is working. Trade is working. Things are flowing. We can get up in the morning now, and if I want to go and buy a tub of syrup, I can. When I was being brought up as a youngster, if we had syrup, we were rich. Christmas was a sock full of an apple and an orange. That's what I was brought up like. And now there's an awful lot of children who don't get that. Not that they'd accept it, but they don't have that. We have 2 world wars to show us what nationalism does. Whether it's bred from a resentment of things going wrong in our own country that we all need to look at. We all need to look at this way that we're all racing around and trying to buy stuff and trying to get one over. Oh, well, I earn this much money. I earn this. I earn that. That has to stop. It's not sustainable for the planet. It's not sustainable for people in society. It's not working like that. And I only think that if we leave Europe, it will go wrong. We're going to put ourselves in hardship. No one can tell me the good things about leaving. And I'm all for being British, and yes, we're great and blah, blah, blah. But no one can tell me why it's going to be better. Why is it going to improve us? Why is it going to improve our standard of living right now? Why is it going to improve our cost of fuel? Why is it going to improve the environment? Why is our energy going to be cheaper? How can leaving Europe improve those things? No one can tell me how it's going to improve. All the leavers who want to go, oh, we've got to get out, let's just fucking get it done. Yes, let's get out. Let's leave. We need to leave. We've got to go. We've got to go. We've got to do it. We've got to jump off this cliff and be great again. Why? What's going to be better? No one has told me anything that's going to be better. Trade is not going to be better. Freedom of movement is definitely not going to be better. Okay? What is going to be better? Our NHS? That's going to be more at risk. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the NHS. Hundreds of people who may watch this are not going to be better because of leaving. The NHS is not going to be better overnight. And it just seems completely lunacy to put ourselves forward to an idea that we have no systems to cope with. We have no immigration system. We have no point scheme system. We've had 3 years to show people what's going to happen when we leave, And you can't do it. We haven't got the infrastructure. We haven't got the deal set out. We haven't got trade deals set out with other countries. Yeah, they're willing to do it, but at what cost? What price to us? What are they going to want? We've got Donald Trump in charge of the United States. It's a businessman. He doesn't care about us. He doesn't care about what's going to be better. He just cares about what he can get because he's got an ego. That's what he's like. You cannot have huge egos like that. This is the problem. And what the hell is he going to want? He said that he wants our NHS and it's on the table to be pilfered and got into. And yet he says, oh, no, I wouldn't want it I wouldn't want it if you gave it to me. And I'm like, well, we'll make up your mind. So no one can tell me what's going to be better. And I'm fuming. I'm fuming because I like the idea that if I want to get on a boat and go to Spain for a weekend, I can. I want to be able to do that. I've been in countries and lived in countries where it's visas and you have to apply and you have to wait and you have to pay. I want freedom of movement in Europe, but I also think it can be tweaked. I think it can be a privilege, shall we say, i.e., if you have committed violent crimes, I don't think you should be allowed in this country. I haven't got a problem with that. I really haven't. And if it meant that when I go to the border and I have to get checked because I've got a bald head and a beard, that means that someone who's committed crime from wherever, from my country, same both ways, you know. I think it should be a privilege to go to Europe. If I want to go to Spain and there's a person with a bald head and a beard who's committed crimes, I expect to be questioned at border control. And I haven't got a problem with that. Okay? It doesn't worry me. Stop and search does not worry me. Yes, because I'm not of an ethnic group that does get stopped and searched. But if the vast amount of people were bald-headed, white, and they had a beard, then of course I wouldn't mind. Okay? That's what we have to expect. And I think there is issues with freedom of movement. Of course there's issues with freedom of movement. I also think there are issues of if there's someone from the European Union or anywhere around the world, if they commit a crime here, we have to put them in our prisons and we have to then care for them. That's no good. Why can't we ship them off to their own country? Because if you have someone from another country with a lower standard of prison service, surely it's cheaper to keep them in their own country, and surely we can work out a deal that we pay them to keep them in their own country, and then when they're released, poof, they're in their own country already. We don't have to have extradition. There is not going to be a European arrest warrant. Poof, gone. So many things are going to go that we all take for granted, you know, and it's crazy. Where does your gas come from to heat your home? Where's your gas come from to heat your home? Any ideas? Don't say the North Sea. And I think you'll find that the Yanks have a few little paws in that, because that was one of the concessions during the Second World War. So they only come and help if they want something, or if they're worried about what they will lose. And it's exactly the same thing. They want something out of us. I have friends who are American. I love them. And I really do feel that we've got a businessman who is just going to come in and slaughter whatever we want. And he wants the NHS. And our NHS is a real sign of social support in everyone, because it's there. You never have to think about, am I going to be able to pay for my medical care? And as a cancer survivor, I've been saved by them. And yeah, I'm working now. It's great. And I work in the support system. But they're going to want stuff. If they're going to give us food, which is full of hormones, which is full of bleach, horrific stuff they do to their animals, mass production that we're trying to get away from because we know it's not good. It's not good for the food and it's not good for the animal. We're trying to get away from that. And yet we're going to get lumbered with all of their foods because we have to, because we will no longer be able to get stuff from Europe. So I think we should stay. There's no other way I can get around it. This is a Brexit vote. You need to vote to stay in Europe. I cannot say it more than that. Yes, wasn't exactly a landslide victory to leave, was it? So 51% or 53%, it was 3% anyway in it. Now, for something this crucial, which we should have had 3 years of negotiations, 3 years of discussing what's going to happen, then a vote, instead of Cameron getting his knickers in a twist and doing it out of spite, then that should have been something we should, instead of leaving it now that half the country want to stay and half the country want to leave, and yet it's a vote that isn't going to affect people. I mean, I'm going to be gone in what, 30, 40 years, but my kids, the children I see walking along today, are going to be the ones that suffer. They're going to be ones looking at us and thinking, why the hell did you do that? And it's really strange when I talk to people who want this. They're reliant on it. You know, they're reliant on these systems working as they are, and yet it just beggars belief that they want to leave. And they can't tell me how it's going to be better. I mean, to push something which is, it's almost nationalism, is wrong. However you look at nationalism, it's wrong. It's never bloody worked. The only time it's worked is when we've all got together to beat it. Yeah? That's the only way it's come together. Okay? Nationalism does not work. From nationalism, you get persecution. And that's what's happening. And we cannot have this. And I don't want to be part of it. I want to be the fact that I've got friends from all over the world, including Europe, and we get on because we're all the same. 99% of the world have the same outlook on life, you know? You want your children, your partner, your family to be safe. You don't want to be working so hard for other people that's destroying the planet if you don't have to. And it seems that leaving the European Union is going to cause that. And I cannot be part of it. I cannot be part of it. And I'm going to do everything I can to try and stay. And if we leave, I won't forgive people for making us go. But then I will have to eat my hat if it does get better. If suddenly we end up having trade deals with the rest of the Commonwealth, which we've been unable to do, if we have freedom of movement with the Commonwealth, then I might change my tune, because then I might go to Australia. But at the minute, I cannot see loads of improvement from leaving the European Union. I cannot see an improvement. And no one's been able to tell me the improvements. There's no improvements. What improvements? Please, if you see this, leave comments, because I want to know what improvements. Actual improvements. Okay? Our gas comes from Europe. Across Europe, shall we say. So what's going to happen then? Granted, we can produce electricity in this country by solar, by tidal. Oh, tidal. By tidal, we're surrounded by it. We can regulate it. I'm near the Tamar Bridge at the minute. We could dam the rest of that Tamar Bridge and use it on hydropower. Yes, it's going to disrupt the rest of the estuary, but you're not going to make it a desert. And this is what I always have a go at environmentalists, fluffy bunny people. You could dam the River Severn. We've got the technology. We could do it. We could dam the River Severn and produce all the electricity we need. Plus, we also then need to get efficiency, okay? Start making stuff that doesn't use as much energy, so therefore you don't need the energy in the first place. We're already proving that we can use renewables, but let's do some renewables that are really substantial. Yes, it's going to, if you put a dam across the River Severn, environmental impact would be huge for everything further up that stretch of where you've dammed it. But God, don't you think it'd be a better thing than having nuclear power stations, gas power stations? We could produce all the power we needed and have a surplus energy. Can you imagine that? Which then would make the price of it come right down, instead of us at the minute paying shitloads for our energy when we can produce it all, because we used to have electric night storage heaters. We used to use electricity to heat our homes. Okay? But now we've all gone to gas because it was cheaper. But now it's not cheaper, because where does our gas come from? Oh, we haven't got any. Same with petrol and fuel. Oh, we haven't got any of that either. But we could make electric cars. If we had an abundance of electricity, technology's there, we can make that. But I'm getting away from it. Okay, so what could happen with our energy, going back to leaving Europe, because that's what I'm meant to be talking about. Our gas comes from the Eastern Bloc and is piped through Europe to get to us. So what is stopping Europe when we leave saying we want a rent for that pipe work? We want rental. Who's going to pay for that? The shareholders ain't going to go into their pockets and say, oh, well, we'll pick up the difference. They ain't going to do that, are they? Which is why I'm steering towards Jeremy Corbyn, because he wants to nationalise stuff. How on earth governments can sell our stuff, and they're quite happy. They've sold off all our stuff. Our water, we used to have all our own water supplies. Our trains, we used to have all our own train systems. Sold it all off. Sorry, you don't own that now. But it's ours. How can you sell it? They want to turn all these schools into academies, and the academies are then selling off the schools fields for houses. That's ours. We own that. So how can they do that? So we've got to stay. I know it's awful because people voted to leave and we're meant to be a democracy, but they're lied to. They were lied to. And how can that be a legal vote if they were lied to? And they voted on stuff that they were lied to, and they were manipulated to play upon their own reservations about Europe. You don't use a vote and make us leave Europe. You make a vote that we are going to fight in Europe for what we think is right. And if we've got police forces in Europe telling us we've got a rapist coming over because he's finished his sentence and we think he's going to do it again, but we can't keep him in, and they're telling us he's coming over, we have the right to stop them and say, off you go, you're not coming in. How can that be wrong in any human being's eyes within Europe or out of Europe? That if we've got someone who is a scumbag and we can't stop them coming in, that's not right. And that comes down to the protection of our people in this country. So we need to fight for that. But we can't do that if we just leave. And all these immigrants that you see trying to get in these lorries in France, do you think the French are going to stop them? Not now. Not now we leave. They'll probably give them a boat, because then it won't be their problem. Whereas at the minute, it's all of our problems. Whereas they ain't going to do it now, are they? They're not going to do that. You think if we put all of those European countries in turmoil, which we are going to do, I mean, they'll recover because they're bigger than us. They'll recover. Okay? Do you think they're going to speak English to us? And English was becoming a European language? A national, worldwide language? I don't think I could, you know. I don't think I could. If my country next door to me put me in turmoil and made my business go and made my family suffer, do you think I would use my skills to speak a different language to them? Would you? So this is why I think we should leave. Please tell me why it's going to be better. Please tell me why the French aren't going to charge, well, the Europeans aren't going to charge us rent. What standard are we going to have for the regulation of our food? What standards are we going to have for the regulation of equipment? What standards are we going to have for our electricity? What standards are we going to run on? A British standard? Well, we don't make anything anymore. We have to import it. And yet we have not got the trading standards people, because we haven't had to, because we've been in Europe. We haven't had to have these standards and these checks done because we haven't needed it for 40 years. So in this 3 years, we should have been re-employing hundreds upon thousands of testers, getting our British standard up to what it should be rather than a European standard, a CEE. And we're not doing it. So we've had 3 years, and what has the government shown us they can do? Can they show us that they can live on their own and they can stand on their own 2 feet and they can make us live outside Europe? Have they got trade deals all ready to go? No, I haven't seen anything. No one's told me how it's going to be better. No one's told me how my NHS is going to be better for people, how my rent is going to go down, how my mortgage rates aren't going to go up, how everyone I meet in the street is going to be better off, and yet no one can tell me. And I don't think it's a risk that I can take. I honestly don't think I can take the risk. You know, who's going to say, now we're going to give you this car, all right, it's fucking brilliant, it's going to do 70 to the gallon, it's really good, and the warranty's really good. Oh, can you tell me, can you put that in writing for me? No. Well, why not? Well, I'm not going to do that. Oh, well, can you tell me why it's going to last longer? No, not going to tell you that. Right. Can you tell me why I should buy that car over another one that they will tell me is better? No, can't tell you that. Come on, people. Use your brains. If no one can tell you it's going to be better, it's a fucking mistake. Yeah? If no one can tell me it's going to be great to leave, and don't keep saying, oh, it's a democracy, we live in it. Yeah, it's a democracy. That's right, which means we can have another vote. If you find out you've been lied to, if you find out you don't have the facilities and you have governments that are incompetent because they sacked all the civil servants who used to do all these jobs for us before we were in Europe, okay? And then it was a pain in the ass trying to do anything. So show me how it's going to be better. You've had 3 years to show me, all of you governments, okay? And you haven't shown me anything. You haven't told me how it's going to be better. You cannot give me evidence to say all you've done is bitch at each other and lie and say it's going to be great and we must go. Bollocks. Bollocks to it. It's just bollocks. It was done. You were manipulated. It was done because Cameron didn't get his own way and threw his dummy out the pram. So now he had a vote, and he was so bloody sure that people wouldn't be manipulated by Farage and by Boris and his daft bus where he lied to us all. He should have got off his arse and gone back to Europe and said, this isn't right, certain things that aren't good about Europe, let's sort them out. Instead of just running away and going, and I said, when he made that vote, I said to my partner, I said, if he doesn't get this vote and it goes to leave, he won't even stay. And lo and behold, what did he do? He come out blabbing, I didn't get my own way, so I'm leaving now. Fuck you lot. Right? And then he has the cheek to come on a few months ago, no, I regret it. Yeah, because you fucked everything up, mate, like most politicians, which is the reason why it's good to be in Europe, because they're proving to us they can't do it on their own. Is it good that Europe are ruling us with stuff? Because they're proving they can organise certain shit. They can organise a peace within our European Union, as it were. We aren't trying to kill each other. We are having these discussions, you know. We've been brought up to get away from nationalism, but to still be proud of who we are, you know. No matter what happens, I'm still going to be Cornish. And that annoys me, because it takes Europe to recognise I'm Cornish and not my own government. Okay? So how does that work? That my own government can't even recognise the fact that I'm Cornish, but Europe recognises me. And look at all the money that pumps in. We get more out of Europe than if we were to leave. There are more benefits than if we leave. Yeah, we do pay them a lot of money, but we also get a lot more back. Okay? We get a lot more things. Okay? Now, I don't think we should leave. And we should do everything to stay. Because our government's proven it couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery. All they want to do is bitch at each other. Every time you speak to them on the telly, there are very few politicians out there who won't go, oh, well, the other's done that. We're not talking about the others. You want to start running it now. So let's run it. Don't just sit there and go, well, Labour did this and the other one did that. And oh, no. Come on. Fucking sort yourselves out. You want to leave, then you've had 3 years to show us how it's going to be great. You've had 3 years to sort out trade deals with all these other countries in Europe. You've had 3 years to sort out a point system, if you like, which, yeah, I think is good. But the point system is abused. You have forgeries coming in. You have people coming in because they're rich. What the fuck? Okay, you have money, and that makes you a good person to come into a country. What a load of shite. Okay? Most of my friends aren't loaded, and yet you will not meet a more honest and better person in society than some of my friends. So how can that be right? That, oh, well, if you go and invest £500,000 in that country, hey, you're in. But regardless of whether you're a scumbag or not, regardless of where you got that money from. So, yeah, there is a lot of problems with Europe, but there's so many good points about Europe, and we've got to stay. We've got to stay for the sake of security. We've got to stay for stability. We've already got laws that prevent our leaders making decisions that will put the entire country in deprivation, because they were brought in after the First World War, when millions were took over and made to kill each other for what reason? For what reason? Second World War was slightly different, because that was Nazism that we were fighting. But then people made a lot of money on that war. The Americans made a lot of money on that war out of us. And the Americans got a lot out of us. We paid for all the stuff that we used during the Second World War. I wonder if how many people knows that. Every tank, every gun, Every bullet that we got from the Americans, every ship, we paid for. And it was only recently we finished paying for it. So what are they going to want this time? What are they going to want? Because that's what they're going to do. And especially in America, because they're real capitalist drivers, they are. Look at the state of their country. Look at the state of their environment. There's places out in America now that are absolutely buggered because of their environmental policies, and ours is going to be exactly the same. And the problem we haven't got the space. We ain't got the space. We ain't got the resources. So we cannot be as haphazard with our environmental procedures as what they are. Okay? And the first thing you've got Boris will do is he will lower our environmental licensing and stuff at detriment. But he don't care. And that's the thing. We're listening to someone, you don't care. All these people that are making the decisions that we should leave, they ain't going to care. They're just manipulating us to get their own end. And we should see that. Europe have seen it. I've got friends in Europe, they have no idea why we want to go. Why do you want to go? It's working. Everything works. You know, we can trade, we can come. We're not killing each other. You can buy something off me. I buy something off you. It works. And yet, you're just fucking it up. None of them can be shown to be doing their job well enough. They're all bent. They're all crooked. They can't tell the truth. They can't come up with suitable reasons why we should go. And it takes a scruffy old git like me to see through it all and to go against any sort of resentment that I have and think, yeah, I'm not going to let that be played upon. I'm not going to let that be manipulated in a way so that other people can get their own goals. It's not right. So we've got to stay. Got to stay. So please comment if you see this. Please share it, because I'm just a normal guy. I don't want shitloads of money. I could run it better. Easily. It's not difficult. It's not difficult to run stuff. It's not difficult to run businesses. And yet everything seems to be made difficult at the minute. And it's not difficult. Europe works. There's so many... we've made a binary choice of something where there's hundreds of thousands of different choices and things that are organised by Europe. And then we're going to say, no, fuck off. It's not working. And it is working. We've got peace. We've got trade. And we're going to jeopardise all that. We're going to jeopardise peace in Ireland. We're going to jeopardise the union. Okay? Because Scotland didn't want to go. So what do we say? Oh, well, you don't matter in Scotland. Bollocks you. Yeah? Come on. We are the United Kingdom. We stopped killing each other and became the United Kingdom, which is how we became great. Okay? And we can still be great inside Europe. Yeah? We still have our identities. They listen to us. The French listen to us. And what about all the people that live in these other countries? How can we say that they're going to be safe? How can we say that nationalism, which is on the rise in certain places in Europe, is not going to come up against them? And they're not going to find on their doorstep people saying that they should leave in order for them to buy the houses cheaper. Is that not going to happen? Because it will be a tit for tat thing if it starts. We've already got people from Europe feeling that they're not welcome in my country, which distresses me. So is that not going to... You're going to get dickheads doing the same? Oh, you should go home to your own country. Fuck off. If someone gives up their country to make their life in another country, you should be proud. You should be proud that people are giving up their lives to come to your country, because it shows how good your country is and how good you are as a person in your country, that they would like to live in your country and give up their own country, because everyone's proud of the country where they come from. And to give that up and live in another country, I think shows how much they think of your country, if that makes sense. So I'm proud when people come and live here, as long as they're the right type of people. So I don't want persecution to start, which is what nationalism breeds by its very nature. And people will thrive on that, because most people will do if they think they're going to get something out of it. And can you blame them? Can you blame them if you're suffering and in order to get yourself better, you're going to persecute someone else? We've seen it. We've seen how easy we can be manipulated. Look at the media. Look at social media. Look at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Look at the way they manipulate you. Okay? It's easily done, and it's happening. You've got the rise of all these far-right groups. What the hell? You've got football teams being racist, football fans being racist to other players. What the hell's that all about? That's not my country. That's not what being British is about. That's not what being a human is about. And yet being part of Europe, is that not the beginning of being one, which we all are? And yet we're still British. The French is still French. Spanish is still Spanish. Sorry if I forget and to mention all the other ones. We could be all day. You still have your identity, but we're in Europe. It hasn't stopped us being who we are. I just really am worried about what we're going through, and how it's deemed as being wrong to have another vote. No, we're not ignoring the people who voted to leave. How can that be right? It's a big wake-up call that people have this worry and fear of Europe, of why it's not working, and that's what has worried me. Why do they think it's bad? Yeah, why do they think that it's bad for us to employ hundreds of European nurses and doctors? Why do they think that? And yeah, okay, if we have hundreds of Polish plumbers coming to this country because we need Polish plumbers, and yeah, they ship their money back into Poland because it's such a good rate that they get over here compared to what they'd get being a plumber in Poland. Sorry for using Poland as an example. Isn't that okay? Because then that money is in Poland raising their standard of living and their people and their cities, which then has a knock-on effect for us by having our neighbours coming up to the same level as us. Is that not better? And yet we're willing to blame Europe for everything that's gone wrong in this country. It's got sweet FA to do with Europe. The fact that this country has the ability to sort as much out as we have done is because of Europe and because we are better than we were when I was a kid. So why blame Europe? I just think it's a big mistake. And if I put this up on YouTube and get lots of comments, great. And if people want to share it, because I'm just a normal guy. I'm just a normal guy who's going to really suffer. Because the rich ain't going to bloody suffer because of Brexit in this country. They're still going to be able to go to Marks and Sparks and buy their stuff. Personally, I can't go to Marks and Sparks and buy me stuff because it's too expensive, like most of us. You see the prices of stuff in Marks and Spencer's, we ain't going to be able to afford that. We ain't going to fight the increase in fuel, whether it's gas, whether it's petrol. We're not going to be able to live with that. And yet, the people that are making the decisions and manipulating us to want us to leave and saying how great it is, they can't give us a good reason, but they're going to be okay. Nothing's going to be wrong with them. They're going to be okay. It doesn't worry them if they've got to pay an extra 40p a gallon on fuel. They ain't going to care. Why should they bloody care? If anything, they're going to be better off. Because the systems that they operate on, they ain't the same as ours. They're not going to lose their house. They probably own the house. And that's what everyone needs to remember. If interest rates go up, because we have a crisis, or because the interest rates go up in America, and we're so tied into them, then our interest rates are going to go up. So we're just going to have a big crash, which is what they want. Capitalism is about booms and crashes, because you make a lot of money in crashes. The other thing, when you breed nationalism, you're also breeding hatred to other minorities. When if you're spending your time hating other minorities, you're not thinking about what your government's doing. If you don't like the way our government operates in this country, do something about it. Pull them up on it. And I don't mean like go and smash all their windows in the council, because we pay for that. Do something about it, you know. Go and see your MP. Go and see your local council. Make meetings with people in that department. Explain to them the situation, because some of them may not even have a clue. Fight for what you think is right. Check out my video on my fridge freezer. Banging video on my fridge freezer. I wouldn't accept a warranty that had gone out for a fridge freezer that didn't last 3 years. I wouldn't accept it. It's not happening. Lo and behold, got my fridge freezer replaced, didn't I? And if everyone needs to do it, it's only a small thing, but it's not when you look at the planet. Okay? The only way we're going to make these people not replace everything is to build it properly. And we've got the technology to do that. Don't accept it. Let's not accept the fact that we're going to put ourselves worse off for probably the next 20, 30 years, which is